Everybody, welcome to another edition of Unstoppable REI. I have my good friend with me here today, John. Excuse me, man. I'm thinking about 1,000 different people. James Brown. You would have known that by looking at him anyway, right? James Brown. And James, man, let's just jump right in, dude. Give me your 30-second elevator pitch, kind of your story. Tell me your story.
30 seconds.
It could be longer. It could be longer. It doesn't be 30 seconds.
So much to unpack.
Yeah. Just hit me
Well,
with it.
so I got into real estate on the investing side. Now I'm helping investors. We've got a few different things that we do, and we've got a specific investing model using these options that's kind of my main business, and it's just a really cool option for investors. So
Nice. How long have you been doing that?
We've been in business for 2 years.
Okay.
Been investing more than that, but we've got this model, this business for 2.
Cool. So 2 years. So how long have you been investing altogether?
Say it again.
How long have you been investing altogether?
Oh, I've been in about 6 years total.
6 years. Okay. So what is one thing that you wish you would have known when you got started?
Oh man.
So
Just
much.
The power of real estate and investing, like
Okay.
my dad told me when I was in college, maybe even high school, he's like, you should go buy a duplex, live in one side,
Yeah.
the other out. Oh my God. So much regret with not doing that.
Okay.
Although, I did buy a house with my brother, when we were, right out of college.
Okay.
So I did some things right, but
sure.
If I would have been like just hammered on this, even, while I had my other career going, it'd be a whole different story, but it's never too late.
Yeah. And, you make the best decisions that you can based on the information that you have. And then, you get more information, make other decisions. So yeah, no problem. Plus, I think you learn a lot more from what from sort of the failures than from the victories anyway, right? So that's been my experience. So speaking of which, man, what would you say, and you sort of alluded to it a minute ago, but what would you say is like your biggest failure in your business? And then and what did you learn from that?
Kind of like the overall failure is taking too long to take action.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time, a couple of years, just learning and absorbing, which was valuable.
Sure.
And, there's shiny object syndrome is a real thing.
Totally.
In real estate. And, there's big decisions, so you don't want to make big mistakes.
Sure.
But at some point you got to do something. So I think that the timing was right for me to get into it. I had a good basis to be able to create a business where I'm helping other investors and feeling confident that I'm not going to get them in trouble because, my word is my bond,
Yeah.
I'm working with a lot of friends that I don't want to get them in trouble. So knowing what the hell I'm doing it just takes time to get to that point, right?
Sure. Well, and it's important. And, especially if you're doing things that are sort of outside of the traditional realm of investing and stuff. So you want to make sure, because there's a lot of quote unquote creative, financing strategies out there. And some people know what they're doing and some people don't. Unfortunately, you don't know which is which until somebody's in the courthouse trying to figure out how they're going to, get out of a problem that they cause. So, to that end, what would you say are some of the best resources that have helped you along your career?
Well, I got my start with Bigger Pockets.
Okay.
Biggerpockets.com. They've got their podcast. So a friend of mine, I was telling him I was going to get serious about investing for myself.
Okay.
He's like, check out Bigger Pockets. So we were on a road trip and started just devouring. And so that led to other podcasts and books.
Okay.
Which led into mentorship. So I've spent some serious money and time on mentorships and coaches. That's the main thing. I mean, having somebody that's been through it and knows the red flags and how to do things properly is key. Like if I wouldn't be here if I hadn't spent the money and time, for sure.
And a lot of people are scared to spend money on. It's interesting because actually I remember when I first got my license back in 1990, have you heard of Brian Tracy?
Yeah.
Okay, so I read, I bought a lot of stuff by him, and one particular thing that stuck in my mind was, if you read an hour a day, that equates to about a book a week, and that's about 50 books a year. Okay, and he said the average person reads one book a year. And so if you're reading 50 books a year, you're going to know a lot. You know what I mean? And he said, if you read for on one particular topic for 3 years, you'll be an expert on that topic. And if you do it for 5 years, you'll be an international expert. So what I did is I wanted to learn about real estate and investing. And I was a real estate agent at the time. So it seemed like kind of a crazy thing. Like, why would you learn about, real estate? I mean, you're already in real estate. But to your point, um, you can't be afraid to spend money to learn. And so I guess what I was wondering is, if you wouldn't mind sharing, what do you, just ballpark, how much money do you think you've invested in yourself on coaching and those types of services?
Um, 30 grand. No, probably 40 or 50 grand just in the last 2 years.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
And hats off to you, because I mean, one person might say that's crazy. Why would you spend that kind of money? But you compare that to the amount of income, and I'm sure you can tie that to income that you've made and what you've learned, right? So I mean, and what you probably can't exactly connect it to is how much money it saved you in terms of loss, in terms of lawsuits. You know what I mean? It's like, would you pay 50,000 to avoid, getting a $5 million lawsuit? I mean, yeah, that's a drop in the bucket, right? So no, that's fantastic, man. I love that. So, if somebody was just starting out and wanted to get, well, maybe was thinking about starting and investing, what advice would you give them? They see that, hey, you got started, you do what you do. What advice would you give them to as far as getting started?
Mm, yeah. Devour as much information as you can.
Okay.
Align yourselves with mentors and coaches, programs, and there's a lot out there.
Oh, tons. Absolutely.
Don't just jump in. Like, ask somebody that's already been through that program, because I have people reach out about the first program I went through, and I'm like, don't waste your time. I
Yeah.
mean, I learned a lot from that one,
Yeah.
but I found better fits, and
Sure.
everybody's got their own a fit for them.
Yeah.
Like, I've had mentors that I'm like, I don't really jive with how they're speaking to
Yeah.
potential sellers. Like I have my own fit.
Sure.
um, so that's important.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say? hmm, Lost it.
Just lost it. No problem. So, and you're right. That is important. I remember, because like you said, everybody doesn't connect with everyone. I remember in college, I had a really smart professor that was like, I don't know, multiple advanced degrees from Ivy League universities and whatever, and could not transfer the information to us. And it's like, this guy is brilliant, obviously, but he's just not a really good teacher. So obviously, there wasn't a good connection. So yeah, connecting is important.
Yeah.
And to that end, go ahead. We're gonna say something. Yeah, sure, please.
The thing that I thought about.
Yeah,
So if you're talking to somebody that's a potential mentor,
yeah,
maybe that you're not paying, or even that you are paying,
yeah,
provide value back. Anything you can do, you can ask them, like, hey, where do you need help?
yeah,
But be thinking, how can I help? How can I help? So, like, my partner and mentor, Jesse Mills,
yeah,
um, that taught us our lease option business. Me and my direct partner, Toby, and
yeah,
we were constantly thinking of new ways to build the business and
okay,
kind of create some, evergreen type things for the business to help him and help the
sure,
other students. We're kind of his top students that have actually done the work and made the business work. And so we help him coach. So sometimes people can't get on the coaching calls.
okay,
So I'll just lead that because I'm ahead of them.
yeah.
So bringing that kind of value and not just being a taker is huge.
That is huge. I saw a post the other day that said something like, If you are a giver, be careful because takers um, don't have any limitation. I mean, so it's like they'll keep taking. So you got to be careful who you'll give to. But you're absolutely right that that gets people's attention, where you're not just all about trying to take from them. It's like, what can I do? And it's a little bit off-putting because most people are not looking for, hey, tell me how I can help you. I know you can help me, but how can I help you? And that's great advice. So, who would you say are if you had to name the top three most influential people in your business or in life in general, who would those three people be?
Hmm. My parents, very
Okay.
supportive,
Okay.
switching careers and stuff. Like they're like, "What are you getting yourself into?" But they're supportive of it, so
Yeah.
I, that's helpful, super helpful.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, Jesse Mills,
Okay.
just a rock star, a go-giver, just a hard-charging guy with a good heart, and he inspires me and keeps me going. And my business partner Toby, like we're in this together, just in the trenches, making it
Okay.
happen. Super smart guy,
Yeah.
and he's as motivated as I am to get through this and build like a solid foundation.
How did you meet Toby?
We met at a networking event, a
Okay.
local networking event. Yeah, it was kind of stars aligned. We were both like,
Yeah.
let's put our skill sets together. So he's like a digital marketing guy that had been helping realtors.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, well, hey, I could do this for myself.
Okay.
And I was kind of in a similar boat. I was doing graphic design for 25 years,
Wow.
and
Okay.
I can use those skills. And I've worked with marketing managers and small, very like global companies.
Yeah.
So we kind of get that side, which is very important in real estate. So
Absolutely.
can I
Absolutely.
add one more person?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Josh Shanley and Bob Mangold. They're in our
Okay.
EXP organization. These guys are amazing, just super smart,
Okay.
motivated. Just they help us in myriad ways. So
Nice. Nice. That's fantastic, man. So what would you say is a myth, maybe just one myth in real estate investing that you could debunk?
mm,
Or more than one. I mean, there are a lot out there, but
well, a lot of people get started. They're like, oh, I'll do wholesaling and then fix and flips, and they don't. I think they don't realize that it's complex, and it's a very active investing. It's not
yeah.
even investing; it's a job,
Yes.
you but it's a great way to get started if you can get it figured out
Okay.
and and make money to then invest. And when you're in that world, you're finding good investments. So,
Sure.
and I'd say it's not easy. So having a coach that knows how to do it is absolutely key, because
Sure.
you can get bogged down in so much with those. So having a coach,
It's key.
key.
Yeah, it's interesting. And of all the people I would talk to, I would say probably people recommending getting a coach is top. And when you think about it, um, all the successful people. I mean, actors, professional athletes, CEOs of major corporations. I mean, they all have coaches and advisors. Even the president of the United States. You know what I mean? So that's really interesting. That keeps coming up. So if you were in my shoes and you were asking the questions, okay, what should I be asking you that I'm not asking? What should I mean? What is it that you want to say that I'm not asking you about?
Mm.
That you think might be important for people to know?
What are you not asking? Not
Maybe I'm
sure.
asking all the right questions. Maybe I'm hitting them.
You're
I'm
lining them
nailing
up.
them. All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
So tell me this, man. Before I ask the last question here, where can people reach out to you? How can people connect with you online or wherever you are? By the way, what city are you in?
I'm in Castle Rock, just south of Denver.
Okay, Colorado. All right. Is it cold there right now? That's cold area, right?
Oh, like I wish it was. I'm from Alaska originally, and
Oh,
I've
really?
yeah, I love snow, man. I want to go
Okay.
play in the mountains, and it's freaking raining and like
That's crazy. I do not like snow. I'm in Minnesota, so I trade places with you in a heartbeat. I'm always just looking for warmer climates and like, hey, where are you? You know, where are you? But anyway, so yeah. So how can people connect with you, man?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
You can also go, like, if somebody's interested in investing
Yep.
specifically, they can find me on hybridrealestateinvesting.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And by and large, I mean the big picture with your particular strategy you're using right now, is it a buy and hold scenario that you're looking for, or is it something that you are? I mean, you basically flipping lease options. Is that kind of it, or I mean, I'm not
Mm.
trying to get into your secret sauce, but what's the end goal
Oh,
with your strategy?
so
Just curious.
it's rent to own,
Okay.
lease options. What we do is we're matching up. We find people that can't get financing that have
Okay.
a good chance of getting it.
Yep.
We'll go through a whole screening process to make sure we've got good buyers
Yeah.
that have ideally 10 to 20% to put down. So
Okay.
it's a lot of like self-employed people.
Sure.
There's something holding them back, and we match them up with an investor, and the investor will buy a house for them. They lease it for 1 to 3 years generally,
Yep.
with an option to buy at the end when they can get their financing through a lender. So that's that's the big
That's a
picture
good.
of what we're doing.
That's a
There's a
very
bunch of advantages we could get into.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll have to. I already know there's going to have to be another part two and part three because I remember the first time we talked. I think that that's a brilliant strategy, and it's just completely different than the normal lease option, kind of thought process. So I yeah, I absolutely love that. So here's my final question for you, man. So um, if you Google the term real estate investor failure rate, you'll see that 95% of real estate investors fail. Okay. So, and part of the reason why I started this podcast is I wanted to talk to top real estate investors like you, find out what you guys are doing differently. But here's my two questions for you. One, what does the term unstoppable mean to you? And when it came to making yourself, you're operating in an industry with a 95% failure rate. What did you do to make yourself unstoppable when it came to succeeding?
Well, having a solid why, you hear that a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't have that drive, you're gonna give up. Like, because it's not easy,
Right.
and it's a long process. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna happen overnight. It can happen quickly,
Yeah.
and the key to that is, like we've said over and over, get coaches and mentors.
Yeah.
And like, I've got a partner that we keep each other motivated.
Okay.
We're brainstorming and charging together.
Yeah.
So it's not like I don't feel like I'm all alone in this.
Which is
So
key. That's important. That's
yeah,
important. Okay.
and
Yeah, go ahead.
knowing like knowing how significantly I can help other people,
Okay.
but like in our business, helping buyers that didn't think they'd ever be able to buy a house, or we're going to have to wait years and years chasing the market up, and helping investors, that some didn't even think, oh, I can invest. This is such a cool way to do it with a lot of safety measures
Yeah.
that other ways of investing don't have.
Sure.
So I'm helping people. That really makes me feel good and keeps me fired up to keep going.
Sure. So when the time gets tough, so is that part of the reason why is because it's helping people?
Yeah.
Would you say? Okay.
And which I didn't think about when I first started. It was kind of more like, I need to do something for myself, so I've
Yeah.
got a secure future, and I
Sure.
knew real estate was going to be at least part of it.
Yeah.
Now it's 110% of
What you
of,
do.
of my life, but being able to help other people is a byproduct that is now a major part of what keeps me motivated.
And that's fantastic, man, because it actually reminds me of, I believe it was Zig Ziglar said that, to get what something like, in order to get what you want out of life, you do that by helping enough other people get what they want. And so that's kind of like what you're saying, that part of your why is, you're doing this, you started off thinking it's going to just be about you making more money or whatever, but you actually are gaining that by helping other people to get what they want, which is, I mean, that's beautiful. That's fantastic.
Yep, 100%. I love that
Yeah.
quote. That's like, yep.
Yeah, it's great. I was getting ready to ask you one other thing. Um, I can't remember. But anyway, man, I would love for this to us to be able to schedule a part two. I'd love to be able to meet your partner, and just hang out, because I find that, so as an entrepreneur, it's a little bit of a lonely place. It can be, especially online. In fact, it's kind of funny. There's been a couple times, most of the interaction I have with people is online, but I ran into a couple people like at the mall one day. I was like, hey, we were just talking, So I love to have people around because, like you said, fires you up. Plus, you get to, iron sharpens iron. You're like, hey, well, I got this deal. How did you do that? What would you do differently here? So I love it. So I would love it if we can continue to connect and hook up, and I appreciate your time, man. And so, yeah, any last comments, any last words of wisdom you want to throw out there before we close up here?
I appreciate you having me on. It gets me fired up talking with
Yeah.
somebody like yourself who's been in the trenches and making it work, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I love it, man. And I think, and one thing that I think that I can offer people, probably the most valuable thing, is all the mistakes that I've made and overcome, because, I think that you can learn way more from the mistakes, although not at the time, you're not happy about it. But after going back and talking with your coach and your network, you realize, hey, you know what? Here's what I learned from that. And as other person I interviewed said, you fail forward. So all that stuff's important. But I'll cut this off because we'll be talking all day. I love talking with you, man. And let's not make this the last time, all right? I'll reach out to you, figure out another time to connect up soon, okay?
Awesome. Thanks, Rufus.
All right, buddy. Take care now. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye now.